You are born on an island that does not appear on any map. It has no name, not officially. The people who live here call it the estate. The people who work for the family call it the rock. And the rest of the world doesn't call it anything because the rest of the world doesn't know it exists. Yet the island is 14 square kilometers of engineered paradise, a private landmass purchased in 1962 by your great-grandfather from a Pacific nation whose government still receives an annual wire transfer in exchange for its permanent silence. There is a main house, a 40,000 square foot structure built into the cliff face with glass walls that overlook the open ocean. There are guest villas, a medical facility, a library that holds documents no university has ever cataloged, and a harbor deep enough to dock a 200-foot yacht. Your mother gives birth in the island's private clinic. There is no birth certificate, no hospital record. A family physician, a man who has served 3 generations, delivers you and records your arrival in a leather-bound ledger kept in a vault beneath the main house, your name, your blood type, your time of birth, and beside it, a single word that will define every day of your life, Heir. Welcome to the most beautiful prison on earth. But your childhood is a masterpiece of controlled perfection. 3 rotating nannies, each fluent in 4 languages, each vetted for 18 months before being allowed on the island. A private chef who once held 2 Michelin stars before he was made an offer that came with a non-disclosure agreement. Former Oxford professors tutor you in mathematics, classical literature, and geopolitics. By 7, you can quote Machiavelli. By 9, you understand compound interest. But you also notice things. The island has no airport, only a landing strip controlled by a single coordinator who answers to your grandfather. Every boat that arrives is logged, searched, and photographed. The staff wear small silver pins on their collars, and the shape of the pin determines which buildings they may enter. At 6, you find a door at the end of a basement corridor beneath the east wing. It is steel, painted the same white as the walls, and it has no handle, only a biometric panel. You press your hand to it. Nothing happens. You ask your mother about the door. She smiles and says, "That's where we keep the boring things." Her smile does not reach her eyes. At 8, your grandfather summons you to the library. He is 81 years old and moves slowly, but his voice could cut glass. He sits you in a leather chair too big for your body and says, "This island is not a home. It is a machine. Every person on it has a function. Every wall has a purpose. And you, child, are the most important moving part. One day you will understand why. Until then, do not ask questions about doors." At 10, a new family arrives, a couple with a daughter your age. They are introduced as guests, but they stay for 7 months. The daughter, Lena, becomes your first real friend. You swim together, explore tide pools, and build forts on the North Beach. One morning, you wake up, and Lena is gone. Yet her villa is stripped clean, as if they were never there. You ask the head of household staff where they went. He looks at you with an expression you have never seen on an adult before, fear, and says, "They were reassigned." You learn 2 things that day. People on this island do not leave by choice. And when they leave no trace. Not a photograph, not a footprint in the sand. At 13, your real education begins. Your grandfather is dead. He passed in his sleep at 84, the leather ledger on his nightstand. Your father takes control. He is different. Where the old man was stone, your father is water. He adapts, he charms, he speaks to world leaders by first name. But beneath the surface, he is colder than anyone you have known. He introduces you to the librarian, a woman in her 50s with silver hair and no last name. She manages the family's information architecture. She draws a diagram on a tablet that erases itself every 60 seconds. "Imagine a spider web," she says. "The spider doesn't chase its prey. It builds the structure and the prey comes to it. Your family builds structures. Think tanks that shape government policy, media companies that control narratives, pharmaceutical patents that determine who lives and who waits, venture capital that decides which technologies exist and which are buried. The family doesn't own the world. It owns the architecture the world is built on." She teaches you about layered holding companies, entities nested inside entities, registered across 12 jurisdictions, designed so that no investigator could ever trace ownership back to a name. She shows you how a single foundation can fund a research lab, a lobbying firm, and a private intelligence contractor simultaneously, all serving one strategic objective without any of them knowing the others exist. At 15, your father gives you a seat on the board of a charity foundation that distributes $50 million a year to children's hospitals across 3 continents. The hospitals are real. The children are real. But the foundation also serves as a financial corridor, a clean, audited corridor through which certain funds are moved and made invisible. At 16, you attend your first summit, 43 people from 19 countries in a windowless room with no recording devices. Yes, these people are not politicians. They are the ones who select politicians. They speak in hypotheticals. What if the trade minister were to resign? What if the patent were delayed by 18 months? You realize, sitting in that room, that what if is the most dangerous weapon in the world. At 17, you leave the island for the first time, a university in Switzerland under a fabricated identity, a background so meticulous it includes childhood photographs of a boy who doesn't exist. You study international law, you ride the tram, you drink coffee in public without a security detail, and the feeling is so foreign that your hands shake. You meet Adrienne in a seminar on human rights law. She is passionate and idealistic. For 4 months, you are something close to a normal person. Then one evening, she shows you an investigative article about offshore trusts and shadow families. She says, "Can you imagine living like that? Completely disconnected from the real world?" You smile. That night, you lie awake for 6 hours understanding you will never be able to tell another human being who you actually are. At 18, a car arrives. No call, no warning. Your father's voice on a phone. "The Swiss experiment is over. Come home." You leave your apartment as it is. Coffee mug on the counter, a half-finished essay on the desk, and disappear the way everyone on the island eventually disappears. At 19, you are taken below. Beneath the main house, beneath the vault, an operations center carved into volcanic rock. 32 analysts monitor global markets, political developments, and media cycles in real time. Screens showing feeds from 40 countries, a communications hub that can reach any satellite, and at the center, a single desk where your father sits every morning at 5 a.m. making decisions that alter the trajectory of nations. "This is your inheritance," he says, "not the island, not the money, the ability to see the board while everyone else sees only their own square." At 20, you manage the family's Southeast Asian portfolio, telecommunications, rare earth mining, private security contractors. You communicate through encrypted channels with intermediaries who have never seen your face. You are good at it. You understand leverage, timing, and the precise amount of pressure needed to turn reluctance into cooperation. At 21, you authorize the acquisition of a failing media company in Singapore. Within 18 months, yes, it becomes the dominant news platform in the region, and is quietly aligned with interests benefiting the family's mining operations. No bribes, no broken laws. The architecture ensures that certain stories are amplified and certain stories are not. You don't need to break the rules when you wrote them. At 22, you discover what happens after dark. Walking past the white door from your childhood, you overhear 2 security men discussing a resolution concerning a former associate. Yet the word carries the weight of something permanent and irreversible. You confront your father. He says, "The machine has moving parts. Some parts wear out. They are replaced. If they cannot be replaced quietly, they are removed. This has been true since your great-grandfather's time. The island survives because the machine is maintained. That is the only law that matters here." Everything you rationalized, the charity work, the clean audits, the polished corridors, rests on a foundation darker than you permitted yourself to imagine. At 23, a London banker is contacted by a journalist with documents. Your father tasks you with the resolution, the architectural kind. Within 6 weeks, the source recants, the newspaper's parent company receives an investment offer it cannot refuse, and the story dies on a Tuesday afternoon with no one noticing. You are efficient. You are calm. And you hate yourself with a precision only someone raised to be perfect can achieve. At 24, your father's health declines, a rare neurological condition kept secret from everyone outside the island. You begin the 5 a.m. sessions. You make the calls. The 43 summit members look at you with deference mixed with calculation, measuring whether the new generation can hold the web together. At 25, you stand on the cliff at dawn. The yacht is moored below. A jet is fueled. Yet you could fly to Zurich, find Adrienne, tell her everything, and spend your life running. Or you could walk inside, descend the stairs, sit in the chair, and become the island. You think about Lena, vanished without a trace. Adrienne, who believed the world could be fair. Every person who set foot here and learned, too late, that the only exit is the one the family permits. You walk back inside. Here is the truth about paradise. It is only paradise if you can leave. At the moment the beauty becomes mandatory, the luxury structural, and the silence enforced, it stops being a garden and becomes a terrarium. You are not the owner. You are the specimen. You were raised to believe you were being given the world. In reality, The world was being taken from you, replaced with a curated, soundproofed replica where every sunrise is scheduled and every truth is filtered through the family's architecture of silence. Now you sit in the chair. The screens glow. 43 people in 19 countries wait for your word. You give it, not because you believe in the machine, but because you are the machine, assembled part by part, year by year, since the moment your name was written in that ledger. No one leaves the island, but the deeper truth is that no one needs to. By the time you understand what the island really is, you no longer remember what the world outside feels like. The cage doesn't need bars when the prisoner has forgotten that doors exist. The sun rises over the Pacific. The waves crash against black rock, and you begin your day in a room underground, in a chair that was always waiting for you, on an island that will never let you go. Because that is what heirs do. They inherit, not the wealth, not the power, the weight.